Okay, so hello, welcome. I'll try to get more into this game. I don't think we're gonna finish it. I'm assuming it's probably gonna be like the last couple times we played this game. Probably only like 15 minutes, but we'll make do. We'll have to. But yeah, let's just get into it. I was fortunate enough to be born an only child. I think I've read this. So I'd never survived from a parent's affection. Siblings, at least of all, any siblings who look almost exactly the same as me. I mean, the triplets kind of look like him, but that may just be it might just be the white hair. It is different shade of white, but still. It sounds like Noisette must have been quite difficult time growing up. You have my sympathies. Thank you. Your sympathies are appreciated, though they're not enough to make me resign my earlier remarks. I mean, he could just sit like outside, right outside the door, I guess. The companion is still not allowed into the library. Can't tempt you to look the other way. If you mean to bribe me, then no. I'm above such affairs. Alright. I don't really like the thought of leaving Blaze to his own devices. Yeah, that probably isn't a good idea either, but there's no other choice, I guess. But it doesn't look like they got very much choice, yeah. Noisette is impossible to budge. So much so, she might as well be made of stone. She's so stalwart despite being so pale and slender. It's rather impressive. I'll be spending the next few hours in the library place. Is this happening outside? I mean, because of the background, I assume this was happening at like the reception desk. Why would Noisette be outside though? There's some books I want to take a look at, and I'd like to take some notes too. Will you be alright on your own? Oh. I'll hold you to that. If nothing else, I'm glad you sound so confident. I'll try to finish around midday. We can meet up outside the library then. Does that sound good? He's gonna get in trouble. Good, let's I'll set you down then. Oh yeah, they were inside. I exited the library, then set Blaze down on the stone steps, which it is storming outside, and the thunder is very loud. So I don't know if you can actually hear that, but it's very loud. Then set Blaze down on the stone steps, which lead to the building. His paws touch the stone soundlessly and glance over his shoulders at me. He offers a parting meow. Oh. Yeah, I'll see you later too. Don't get into any scripts, alright? If I hear that you've been making nuisance for yourself, I'll think twice about helping you. Oh. Blaze meows once again. I think translating from cat, that means don't worry, I'll be fine, stop fussing, and leaves. I straighten up my brows furrowed and watch as Blaze pads down the steps. Doesn't look like he's worried, at least. I can't say I'm quite as carefree, but with some luck my time spent in the library ought to teach me a couple ways to lift Blaze's curse. Then I'll be rid of him for good, and I'm not sure about that. And won't need to worry about him anymore. We'll go our separate ways and he won't be able to bother me again. That's what I want. So why am I worried about him so much? Yeah. Sir? Noisette, the bespectacled librarian, calls out to me behind the counter in that calm, measured voice of hers which seems oddly devoid of emotion. Are you alright? What? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. I can enter the library now then. You can indeed enjoy your stay and try not to make Too much noise. Library is supposed to be a place of peace. Peace, huh? Not gotten much of that since I met Blaze. I ought to be thrilled. Thrilled at the prospect of getting a few hours to myself. But my thoughts are still stuck on that stupid cat. What in the world is wrong with me? A little while later? I scan back and forth as I read through the books in front of me, my head supported by one hand and elbowed pressed against the tabletop. I had looked around the library shelves, which were full of bustling with all sorts of books, and retrieved with about a dozen of them for some light reading. Most of these books were found in general section, where anybody can get their grubby mitts on them. But 3 of these books, the largest of which also happens to be the most ordinately bound, came from the restricted section. I mean, how does he get... This is a special section of Excel's library. It only qualifies... Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Which is in which they can permit access to. Small rare social strata, of which I am fortunate enough to be a member. I showed Noisette my identification card, and after inspecting it, she waved me through. This section of Excel's library is much smaller than the main atrium of the building, but its collection of tomes is much more meager. The tomes in this restricted section, however, tend to be more thorough than books readily available to the general public, though not always in a positive way. Hi to the Ireland Games, welcome! Some of the books in the restricted section, quite a lot of them actually, are full of information which ought to fall into the hands, which ought to fall in the hands of the general public. There's quite a few books about dark magic, necromancy included, which is generally considered a taboo. Practicing necromancy is actually an arrestable offense, one that can lead to a lifetime of imprisonment. The rules around checking these books out used to be even stricter back when Niel was still under King. I want to say Limone? I don't know. Rule, and things have loosened up since Queen Asmodeus took over. I guess our new overlord, or overlady rather, doesn't care as much about trying to restrict the flow of information about the dark arts among the country's most powerful mages. I, however, have no real interest in raising the dead. While I know it's possible, many unsavory things are. With the use of magic, I simply can't see the point of it. Reanimating corpses aren't, as some bereaving mothers, lovers, and child might like to believe, picture-perfect recreations of the dearly departed. It's possible to imbue a corpse with life, but it's an incomplete sort of life, one which comes either with scattered memories of the past or no memories whatsoever. Corpses, why are we... I mean, it's interesting lore, but I'm not sure why we're going into all this, because I'm pretty sure this is not going to come up at all. Corpses which have been brought back to life don't bear much of a resemblance, if any, to the person they used to be while alive. Even if it was possible to bring someone back with all their memories intact, an act which would be tricky even among the strongest mages. Shock and horror first from dying, then from being made to undie would be enough to turn most of these cadavers insane. I've read up on a few cases of necromancy, and the end results are never pretty. In one case, a reanimated corpse. Yeah, this is going in oddly like detail for some reason. I don't know. Actually mauled their summoner to death. Most of the people who practice necromancy is either unscrupulous charlatans trying to take advantage of newly bereaved or the bereaved themselves, unable to let go of the past. The former tends to be morally bankrupt, while the latter is emotionally unstable. I really have no interest in reading through any of the tomes about dark magic. In the stricter section, I prefer to live a hassle-free of life as possible. I am, however, intrigued in a few hefty leather-bound books of curses, books which are in the stricter section less, I presume, because the contents are objectionable, but because the books themselves are so old. The pages of these books feel awfully brittle beneath my fingertips, so much so I have to hold my breath when I turn the pages. It feels like a gust of wind might be enough to turn these old books into dust. Their binding, which once must have been elegant, are now awfully worn, as is the ink on the pages. The writing in these books, all done by hand, is spidery, and I have to squint to make out a scent of it. I'm surprised they haven't made copies of it. If it's that old, I feel like that would be a good idea. If I had to guess, not that it's a competition, I'd say the books I'm currently glancing through must be a good 3 or maybe 4 centuries old. It certainly looks like a relic from the past. The information contained within its pages, however, is rather interesting. The writer, whoever they were, was going into lots of depth about certain curses techniques and how best to counter them. The writing is a bit florid, but it's nothing I can't handle. It's so intriguing, I'm starting to wonder why I don't spend time in Oxel's library than I do. Maybe I should spend more time looking through the books in their structure section. But then again, maybe not. Noisette has been looking at me the last 15 minutes, her expression wait, why? Our eyes meet when I glance up, but she doesn't look away. She doesn't even have the decency to blush. She must be watching me to see if I slip up. If I tear any of the pages in these rather old books, no doubt she'll have my head. It's not a cold day, but I'm starting to get the shivers. This is the real reason why I rarely come to Excel's library. Why I so rarely look through any of the restricted books. I can't say I like being sized up like I'm a convict by Noisette. Now the old adage was innocent until proven guilty. I've not, as far as I know, done anything wrong. But maybe to an overeager librarian, flipping through a new book that's over 3 centuries old is a crime in and of itself. Being as careful as I can, I'm even using magic to turn the pages, as opposed to my fingers. They can't cause any unnecessary damage, but Noisette doesn't seem to appreciate it. I don't think she appreciates much in life. She's very like her sisters in that regard. They're both inflexible too, and intolerable. I assume my studies flipping between the 3 restricted books whenever mood strikes me. Time seems to move as I read very slowly, like molasses, until some 3 hours later I see my scholastic pursuits. I could keep right on flipping through these books until the proverbial cows come home, but it's a little hard to focus when Noisette's glaring at me. It doesn't help that I am worried about Blaze either. Wouldn't be all surprised if he's gotten himself caught up in yet another kerfuffle. He usually does seem to attract trouble, especially when I'm not around. That run-in he had with the Mandragora in the forest is particularly alarming. I don't suppose I should care about Blaze quite as much as I do. It's not like I know him at all that well, but I do feel responsible for him. He's so small and slight, and he can't be expected to look after himself. That would be unfair. I'd care less about his well-being if he was a human. He's tall enough, not to mention muscular enough to fend for himself. But as a cat, it's another story. I don't think I'll ever forget how satisfied he looked when I saw him and stared in the Magicora's vines. Fortunately, there aren't many Magicoras roaming Oxel streets to do any ensnaring, but one can never be too careful. Alright, let's sort all this out first. I returned the rare books that I was pursuing to spot some on the shelf levitating them with my magic, to avoid damaging the spines with my hands. Some of these books are priceless. I'm not sure even Angelique and her family could afford them. But the more delicate books returned to right places on the shelves, and then check out the few books still remaining, which are common enough with regular library goers such as myself, can take them back home without much fuss. I'll still incur some pretty hefty fines if anything should go awry with these books, but they wouldn't be enough to drain my coffers. And in any case, I don't think there's any issue with that. All books are precious because they contain knowledge. Even mass-produced books, which can be bought at any bookstore, are worth the weight in gold. Might not be the tidiest of homes myself, but I would never let any book, not even one of mine, nor one of the libraries, get dirty or damp in my presence. I consider the desecration of books to be a great sin. Perhaps people who are careless with books deserve to be fined. They are criminals in the highest degree, even worse than petty cooks like Blaze. At least he only stole silverware, or goldware, as the case may be, given that I heard about the Valera family's riches. Is that having gold's like gold tools to eat with? I feel like that's not. I don't know. I feel like that's not healthy. Showing books is much. I don't know. Maybe it's not though. Showing books is much worse. Thievery I can understand, but book burning, accidental or worse, intentional book harming, I can't stand people like that. Do they not understand how much value is written word has? But I'm getting carried away. I often do when the subject of books comes up. Maybe it is fine because some people do like put like gold foil on food, which I don't really understand, but I guess it probably is safe to eat or eat with. This is a pet peeve of mine, alongside people who misuse the word literally, people who incorrectly use apostrophes when trying to signify the plural forms of words, and people who say I could care less when actively they mean they could not care less. Goodness, the world really is full of irritating people. The world really is full of irritating people. It's a wonder I've made it to my 26-year-old year without throttling anyone. Jeez. I mean, I was agreeing with him when he was talking about the books, but not sure about the other stuff. The cohabitation with Blaze might change that, however. But only time will tell. Finish checking out the 3 tomes. I'd like to take a bit more time to pursue at the counter, aided by the impressively efficient noisette. He stamps the insides of these books with a deft, almost automatic precision, and slides them back over the counter to me. Here you are. You have 2 weeks to pursue through these books. Once these 2 weeks are up, you must return the books to the library. You can renew them again if you desire, or if nobody else wishes to check them out. You should not keep these books to yourself, however. If these books are overdue, you will incur fines, and our staff will come to collect them. Please be mindful that Other people use this library too. Do not be selfish. Noisette wouldn't be the first person in my life who told me that, but fortunately for her, I wasn't planning on hoarding these books. I've more than enough on my own. Thank you for the warning. It is appreciated, but unnecessary. I was planning on these books well before their due date. Take the books to the counter, then stash them away inside my wicker basket dangling from my arm. These 3 books are fairly heavy. They require a not wholly insignificant amount of weight for me to support, but they're not impossible for me to carry around. Trek back home might be a bit of a struggle, but I should be fine. If anything, maybe I should welcome this as a challenge, since I rarely go out. I don't get much in the way of physical exercise. I was thinking that my arms looked a bit too skinny. Carrying these books might help counteract that. In my dreams, maybe. Your help is very appreciated, Miss Noisette. Suppose I shall be seeing you later? Yes, I shall see you, and if you should happen to see either of my sisters in the interim, would you remind them that we're supposed to be visiting our parents next month? Nanette and Ninette always seem to forget. I'll try, provided of course that I remember. And whether Nanette or Ninette actually listen to me, which seems unlikely, I depart from the library after exchanging a few parting words with Noisette, leaving this large, high-ceiling building behind me. I head out into the plaza, pausing by the large ornate fountain. It's pleasant enough morning, with blue sky, almost entirely devoid of clouds. A few families are dotted around the fountain, engaging in idle chatter, and so are a few couples, several of them sipping drinks and licking gelato bought by the nearby stalls. A few white-winged birds fly overhead, chirping among themselves, and sounds of footsteps against the cobblestone hover in the air. All in all, it's a very peaceful scene. If it wasn't for the 3 books stashed inside my basket, which are starting to make my arms ache, I might feel inclined to relax myself. As it is, however, I can't bring myself to truly enjoy my surroundings. My books are too heavy, burden indeed, but more than that, I'm wondering where Blaze is. Can I tell him to meet me here by midday? Well, he's probably in trouble again. Well, it's a couple minutes to midday right now. Clock faces of the nearby clock tower looming over Axel's horizon warned me of that much, but Blaze is nowhere to be seen. Perhaps he got delayed? What he could have been delayed doing, however, I have no idea. What do cats do for fun? Suppose he could be arguing with fishermen at the market, or tricking friendly old women to feeding him scraps of food. Both sound like something Blaze would do, given his checkered past. I decided to wait for a while, taking a seat in the stone wall which bridges the fountain. The minutes continue to trickle by, minutes denoted by shifting of the colossal hands on the clock face, but Blaze still doesn't show up. 12 o'clock becomes 5 minutes past, and becomes 10, then 20, but still Blaze isn't here. What in the world happened to him? Expected he might be a little late. Doubt he's any good at timekeeping, a skill which must have been harder for him now that he's a cat, but this seems excessive even for him. At long last, 12 rolls around. Worrying begins to set in. Did Blaze get into some sort of mischief after all? I almost dread to think. I have to think about it, though, given that I am Blaze's owner, nobody else is going to look out for me, because no one else knows about him. As long as he's a cat, he's my responsibility, and that being the case, I'm obligated to go and find him. I'm worried he won't won't be able to fend for himself. I just hope he isn't hurt. The prospect of finding one black cat out of what must be hundreds of strays in the city of Uxelle is a daunting one, but I am determined to do my best. I'm not going to return home without him. To Blaze, I was going to help him. That's exactly what I mean to do. I can't exactly do that, however, if he isn't here. I get to my feet, supported my basket in the crook of my arm, and glance around the plaza. I square my shoulders, and after inhaling, I set off to Uxelle's twisting, turning streets. Where are you, Blaze? Where could you be? I murmur this to myself as I scour Uxelle's streets. My head snaps this way and that, my eyes narrow, and I take in numerous buildings which, well, I would say they flash by me, but I'm not going very quickly. I might have been a voracious reader back at Oleander Academy, but I never paid too much attention to the physical side of my education. I've not been jogging for much more than a minute. Therefore, when a sharp pain begins to flare up in my right side, oh no. I breathe heavily, beads of precision between the form and my forehead. It's a warm day, the metal isn't helping matters. The soles of my hardy dragonhide boots pound against the cobble beneath in a dull, weird series of thuds. The cobbles were newly serviced by the plaza, but they were awfully uneven down these twisting, turning alleyways. They haven't been maintained very much, which makes my pursuit even trickier. My foot catches in one of these raised cobbles at one point, and I almost fall through. I'm able to steady myself before I can hit the ground. Damn it. Of course, then kick out at the raised cobble has almost ushered in my humiliation. That was a close call. My heart still pounding. I glanced around the rabbit warren of twisting, turning alleys around me, my eyes narrowed. Not sure where I should go. I've been to Uxelle several times, but only to collect ingredients for my potions, or to make the occasional visit to the library. Try not to venture down these alleyways, which are all closely knit homes and hairpin bends, which there's no point. There's a veritable rabbit warren of streets here. So much so I never heard, like, it's the second time you said that. I never heard like that phrase. I feel disoriented. I'm not sure where to begin in my hunt for Blaze. Uxelle is a big city. I could search the streets for hours at this rate. I stand there, pondering when out of the corner of my eye spot a young woman. She's dressed in the attire of a maid, long hair, and there's a wicker basket a little like my own threads through the crooks of her arm. It must be a maid of the nearby household, a very fancy household by the looks of things, who come to Uxelle to get some shopping done. I do wonder why she's wandering around in a dingy alleyway like this, though, rather than out in the cobblestone streets. Is this some sort of shortcut to the marketplace I'm not aware of? Not sure, but something I would like to ask her. It's a long shot, but... Excuse me, miss, but could I have a few moments of your time? Oh? Are you talking to me? That's right. There's something I'd like to ask you. If you have the time, that is. The maid frowns, one hand rests beneath her chin. Oh, I suppose I to be running an errand for milady. She'll be upset if I take too long to get back. But my plans have already been prepared, so I suppose That won't hurt too much. Did something happen? You could say that, yeah. I haven't seen a black... You haven't seen a black cat around, have you? A cat? The maid blinked. Then she clapped her hands together and says, "Now that's a funny coincidence." "What is?" I was looking for a cat myself, a black one, just like you said. As I came here, I was trying to track the poor kitty down." "Poor kitty?" I frowned. Part of me thinks it would be funnier if Blaze could hear himself being referred to like that. But right now, I'm more concerned about what compelled this maid to call him that. "Why do you say that? Something didn't happen to him, did it?" "Suppose you can say that, yes. I was wandering around at the market, doing a weekly shops when I heard an awful yowling. I turned around, oh no. I turned about and saw a group of boys, oh no, tormenting a poor cat. They were raising quite the ruckus. Oh. Stepped over to tell them to stop, and the cat ran off, but the boys chased after it. I was worrying, so I went after them, just to tell them to stop, but I lost sight of them. It wouldn't happen to be your cat, would it?" "Well, there's a lot of cats around here." I tried to answer casually, though I can feel my stomach sinking like a stone. Did you notice anything unusual about this cat?" "Yes, as a matter of fact. I was only watching from a distance, but even then, I could tell his most striking eyes. One of them was blue and the other was brown. I've never seen a cat like that before. He looked more intelligent than your average cat, but he was so small and scrawny. In that sense, he reminded me of a little of a lady. She also is very short and cute. Maybe that's why I felt compelled to lend a hand. I can't stand it when cute small creatures get hurt. It's so unfair." "Right." I had a few doubts, but this maid's testimony clinches it. The cat must have been Blaze. Black cats aren't exactly uncommon, but black cats with heterochromia? That was unique. I think that is Blaze. Oh, your kitty is called Blaze? That's just a cute name. Thanks, though I didn't exactly pick it out myself. That's praise that this maid should be heaping on my shoulder, on the shoulders of Blaze's dearly departed mother. Speaking of names, I'm Master, by the way. And you are? Oh, did I not say? Let me drop by me to neatly curtsy, and she says, "Is this another one of the siblings?" I mean, she only said there were triplets, but like they could have another sister. My name is Lizette. Nice to meet you, Aster. Lizette. That's funny. I'm sure that's the name of Miel's former princess. Oh, daughter of the ousted King Lemone. I thought Lizette and her father had been banished after the Queen Demon Simodius took power a few months ago. But there's no guarantee this Lizette is the same Lizette I learned about growing up. It's not exactly an uncommon name. There were 3 Lizettes in my class in Oleander Academy alone, and none of them were princesses. At least 2 of them weren't. I think one of these Lizettes might actually have been a noble from a nearby country, but I never got close enough to her to ask. I wasn't close to any of my classmates, really. It's a miracle I've been able to talk to Blaze as much as I have, given how terrifying my people skills are. Terrible. I guess Blaze is a special case. It's nice to meet you too, Miss Lisette. Did you see Blaze go down this alleyway then? Yes, I'm quite sure the boys chasing him are making quite a ruckus. I'm surprised I lost him so easily. Hope they're not hurting the poor kitty. I get pretty worried too. Shall we go and look? That would be a good idea, yes. Those boys looked like bad news. Afraid they might have wicked. I'm afraid they might have wicked designs on it. I'm afraid they might have. I don't know what that. I'm not sure what that means. Like, yeah, wicked designs. I heard rumors that few more unscrupulous pie shops in the area will pay up for any. Ooh. Pay up if any who brings a stray cat to them. Oh no. But why would they? Ponder this for 2 seconds, however, before the penny drops. Ah, indeed. Beef is expensive, so it's more profitable for those shops source their meat from other, less reputable places. Here is the real problem, actually. Then does that mean Blaze could be in serious danger? He might if we can't find him. Let's hurry. Right. Oh no. Was that? And I hasten through the alleyway. Let's expression grimly determined. She rounds the corner, telling me she's familiar with this area. At Excel Street's urchins tend to congregate in the old streets, and I hurry along behind her. The sounds of footsteps echo through the alleyway, mingling with the anxious pounding of my heart, my uneasy inhalations. Please, I pray, don't let it be too late. Let the place be alright. But a few centimeters taller than I am, but I keep pace with her easily. I'm walking so quietly, I'm almost jogging. My heart's pounding anxiously against my ribs. Once more, we turn another corner. These alleyways are convoluted, like a nest of snakes, and then... Oh, there he is. I heard a loud, anxious yowl. One I'm familiar with. That must be Blaze. I hurry along, breaking into yet another run, and soon stumble across quite a sorry sight indeed. Blaze is there, cowering in shade of a few buildings, while 3 boys set upon him. One of the boys, a redhead with a vicious high-pitched voice, is clutching a stick, which he used to prod Blaze. How'd you like this, huh, you little beast? This is what you get for intruding in our territory. Take this. Oh. Oh no. How horrid. I quite agree. If these little brats think I'm going to let them get away with that, he has another thing coming. Are you going to step in? Of course. I roll up my sleeves. My eyes narrowed, then say, I don't make a habit of telling people this. I wouldn't want to boast, but I'm actually a powerful wizard. I'll make those brats regret it if it's the last thing I do. I inhale, roll my shoulders, and step forward. Hey you! I approach the 3 boys, my body sparking with latent magical energy. I don't mean to actually curse them, of course. As angry as I am, I'm not about to hurt a bunch of kids. But I figure that it'll be a good deterrent. I should be, at the very least, encourage them to stop being such little shits. What are you doing to my cat, you little monsters? Leave him alone. What? The redheaded boy looks at me defiantly with eyes narrowed. Who the hell are you? What? You don't know me? Master, one of the most powerful wizards in all of Oxel. Rather thought my name preceded me. Can't blame you, I suppose, for your ignorance. You are only a child, after all. But the way you've been treating my familiar is quite unacceptable. Now stop that this instant, unless you want me to turn you into a frogs. Then I might poke you with sticks, and then you'll see and then we'll see how you like it. The redhead ringleader looks at me easily and says, "You don't mean that, do you?" "Oh, don't I?" I raise an eyebrow. "Do you want to try me?" "Hey, Micah." One of the boys' companions took hold of his wrist. "That guy looks serious. We should get out of here." Yeah, Gus is right. The other boys chime in, glancing at me uneasily. He looks kind of intense. What? Micah's eyes narrowed. Are you being serious right now, Gus? I am, yeah. He's kind of scary. Even Ike agrees. Yeah, he looks like he means business. Oh, whatever. I ain't scared. You can run off if you want, or I'm not no coward. Not like you two. I'm prepared to fight like a man. Jeez. I whistle. Your aplomb is admirable. But you might be fighting like a man for a whole lot long. Not when I'm through with you. Now let's see. I wonder what sort of frog I should turn you into. Maybe I should go with something particularly repellent. Hey, Mega, come on. Let's get out of here. The cat ain't worth it. Yeah, let's go. Just trying to. He's just trying to freak us out. This is nothing. We can't let him spook us. Well, if you're worried about being spooked. Focus. Ah, he's really doing it. Let's get out of here, Micah. I don't want to turn into a frog. Gus and I take off, their soul slapping against the cobble. For a few moments, only Micah remains until. Oh, alright, fine. You can have your stupid cat. It's not like he was all that fun to play with anyway. Micah runs away, hot on his heels of his companions, and in his absence I sigh. Well, it looks like he took care of that. I sigh and approach Blaze, who's trembling. Bent over, scooping his slender body against my chest and murmur, "Now that's unfortunate. I've done so much running I feel kinda tired, though that's nothing compared to Blaze. Looks shaken after the encounter with those young hooligans. Oh well, he might be. The small, dark body is trembling against me, his eyes wide with what can only be fear. It's kinda funny, in a way, that Blaze should be so very intimidated by a group of hard-clothed children when he's a good deal bigger than that they are in his human form. What he is in his human form right now, he still looks like a cat, which makes him vulnerable. I grit my teeth together, irritated on Blaze's behalf. Those kids were awful, weren't they? I wonder if they really were going to sell you. Wouldn't be surprised. I thought I recognized that redhead. Mike is notorious for getting his mitts on people's pets. He isn't very. Oh no. Oh. I've heard a lot of stories about animals going missing here. It's a dangerous area. It sure sounds like it. Shudder, then pet Blaze on the head. Well, whatever they want, I'm glad I was able to stop them. Maybe I shouldn't be too hard on them though. Any children who would attack a cat for coins must be pretty pitiable in their own right. Still, I frown. I have to wonder how you always wind up in sticky situations like this. You weren't born under an unlucky star, were you? I guess it's a possibility. You must have been cursed long before Charmaine took against you. Must be one of the most unfortunate people I've ever met. Blaze meows at this and nudges his cheek against my chest. A gesture I choose to interpret as not saying much, given you don't know all that many people. Naturally, I scowl. I'll take you to not to be rude, you jerk. I've done an awful lot to help you out these last few days, you know? At least you could do is not make fun of me, even if my social skills do leave a little something to be desired. Alright, fine, my social skills leave a lot to be desired, but I'm working on it. I've been talking to you, haven't I? You don't think that counts? Because you're still a cat? You're saying You're saying conversations ought to be a two-way street? Oh, whatever. I mean, yeah. I'm doing my best here. You could at least try to meet me halfway, and by that I mean you should stop getting yourself involved in these silly little spats. I was terrified when I came out of the library and couldn't find you. I was sure you'd gotten yourself into trouble again. I was right. You're a magnet for it. Well, of course I was worried. Not completely uncaring, you know. And it's hard not to worry about you, given how often things seem to be going wrong around you. Guess I should count myself lucky you're not bleeding. You say you feel fine? In fact, you're better than fine because I came looking for you. Ah, well, I'm glad to hear it, I guess. Though I'll hesitate to let you out of my sight from line of sight in the future. All this fretting can't be good for my heart. I feel like I've aged a decade in the last couple days. Do you talk to your kitty like that often, Aster? We must be very close. Vance, Vance away red-faced. Why do I feel abashed? Then mumble. I guess we're pretty close. I figured. You're talking to him like you're just like your best friend, and you seemed worried when he went missing. You must love him a lot. Blaze cocks his head at me, his expression questioning. I meanwhile flush. I know Lizette thinks that Blaze is nothing more than a cat. Why would she suspect otherwise? But using the big L word feels kind of heavy. I mean, how can I love Blaze? I've only known him for a couple days. Sure, my heart just about stopped when I realized he's gone missing, but that doesn't mean I love him or anything. Oh, well, we're not even friends. I found her hopelessly abashed that all Blaze disturbs me. He blinks slowly. I think I've heard it said that this is a feline gesture of affection. Then reached out to lick my cheek. I didn't expect it, and I squawked red-faced. Hey, what's the big deal? I get that Blaze is believed to have been rescued, but kissing me in public is kind of... 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. Probably won't be too much longer though. It's getting to 50 minutes. The other place is relieved to be rescued, but yeah. I felt wiping saliva off my cheek while Lizette laughs. I knew it. He really does love you. Making a total pair. I'm just glad I was able to reunite you, but I'm glad you don't want me I'm sure you don't want me hanging around. I'll be on my way now. Shopping isn't going to get itself done. Alright, goodbye. Thank you for your help. Quite alright. I'm a super maid, and I'm always happy to help people in need. Especially when they're as cute as you two. Goodbye. Lizette drops a neat curtsy, then turns. Watch as he walks away. Watch as her long ponytail bobs, then sigh. I look back at Blaze, then pout, I say, pouting. You need to learn to stay put, you idiot. Your little disappearing acts shaved years off my life. You mean there's not much of my life left of? How cheeky. I know your hair. I know my hair's white, but I don't think I look that old. I'm only 26. You think I act older? Well, I'm very sorry for being reasonable. Hope doesn't make me too unappealing. Not that I care about what you think, of course. I don't really. He does. He definitely does. Whatever, believe what you want. I don't care. Now come on, let's head back home before, oh, I don't know, we get caught up in a robbery or washerwoman dips a bucket of dirty water over our heads. Can't be dealing with any more trouble today, even if you seem to find it funny. I agree. I think I need to lie down. I'm exhausted. The walk back to the cottage proves to be rather uneventful. In fact, I'm grateful for, given so much happening this morning. Once we arrive back home, I prepare Blaze and myself something light to eat. Blaze gets more of the chicken and slimy disgusting sauce he seems to like so much, while I make myself a mushroom-based dish. As I eat, I read through the books I brought with me from the library. Not sure if anything's too useful in this book. Its contents don't seem too dissimilar from some of the tomes I've possessed already, but there's a chance this author might offer a few tidbits of information for me to chew on. I've never before considered. My attention remains on my book, unwavering even as Blaze rubs my head against my calf. Yeah, it is getting a little slow, so probably wait a couple more minutes. Absolutely, I bend down to ruffle the top of my head. Top of his head. He licks my fingers in return. But I don't pay him more need than that. My attention has been completely entrapped by this book. Most of the information present in the pages isn't anything I didn't already know, but the author's style is rather captivating. Some of these academic tomes can be rather dry, but not this one. It's quite diverting, almost amusing. It's been penned in quite the chatty style, which is unusual for a book of this nature. Typically, I'd find such a register unsuitable for the subject matter. I can and will drop books if they feel like the author's trying to befriend me through the pages. But this is engaging. They use a lot of interesting imagery to get the idea across. can't say I'd even thought of using Salamander's heart in this context, or Serpent's Eye. Maybe I should give some of his other suggestions a try. I mean, why not? I have nothing to lose except time. Though this is unfortunately a resource Blaze doesn't have much of. Didn't Charmaine say the curse would last for a week before it sticks? It was, yeah. It's like, it's been like 4 days. The week's like 3 or 4 days, so it's like halfway, a little over halfway. I've already been, yeah, 3 days. I've already used up 3 days, so I really need to get started on my attempts to heal him as soon as possible. These potions might be of some use, but the ingredients they're calling for are awfully rare. Probably scrounge up a scorpion stinger. They might be some that the sells many apothecaries. And if they don't, the marketplace would be a good bet. Manticore, but cockatrice feathers, manticore fangs. Those are much harder to come across. Ooh, yeah, I think I. Oh wow, everything is slowing down. I don't know how the stream looked right now, but. Yeah, I think this probably will end it for today, unfortunately. I thought we would get to the end of chapter 2 today, and I feel like we're probably close to it. But yeah, today's Friday, so yeah, probably Monday will be the next stream. Yeah, Monday. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Have a good day. And also have a good weekend too.